Super. Okay, well, welcome everybody. I hope you had a great summer and are excited for what's to come. If you haven't been an organizer during Freshers Week, hopefully by the end of this session, you'll be a little bit more informed as to how the week goes and what is expected of you. And yeah, and that you can start planning with your committees on what you're going to be doing for the week. So first off, the Sign Up Hub, which is the online membership hub that some of you might be familiar with already if you're involved previously or if you've ever signed up to a society. That's offline at the moment because we have a bit of tech and stuff to do in the background before we relaunch it for 2025-26. But we plan on launching it again on the 9th of September to allow postgrads because postgrad orientation is the week before. So you might have a few postgrads who might want to sign up to your society. And so we want to make sure that it's open to them. So it'll be flying then by the time Freshers Week comes around. So Freshers Week then itself will be the week after, which is the 15th and then not to the 19th of September. So the Freshers Week, you can run activities and events every day, how many you choose. However, the Freshers Fair is limited to 3 days throughout the week. So it will be on the Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. So basically what you'll do is if you're in on Monday or before then, if you get a chance to come in because the office is open now, you can have a look and see what you need, start ordering your stuff, checking whatever pop-ups or anything that the committee might have from previous years. Have that all ready to go then for 9 a.m. on Tuesday morning when you'll go out on Front Square, and we'll have two locations. It's slightly different this year if you've ever done it before. We no longer have the large cabin, which is normally where you pick up your tables, but we're confirming all that information this week, but we're pretty sure you'll be picking it up from now at the exam hall. So it'll be much easier. The exec and Crahor will be there from 9 a.m. signing out tables for everybody. You set up your stand, you'll be told where to set up your stand, and from there it's up to you to decorate your stand and start signing people up. So as I said, the Freshers Week is one thing. That's kind of activities will happen throughout the week from, in any of the rooms and spaces that are available. And then the Freshers Fair itself is in the Front Square, just from 10 until 3 on the 3 days. If anyone has already signed up for Fairs Hall, the hall out in the Halls Fair JCR, they normally have a mini fair it's happening on the 14th of September this year. Sign up has already opened, but I spoke to the secretary this morning and I believe there's 4 tables left. So that's a kind of a first come, first served basis. So if you are really keen to go out on the Sunday and sign people up, there's 4 tables left. So it's first come, first served. I think it's €10 as well to get a table. Email secretary@trinityhallsjcr.com and you might be able to grab a table for that. If you are heading out though, just remember to grab what you need by Friday before the 14th, because most of the buildings in Trinity close at the weekend. So there's no point in coming in on the Sunday morning trying to grab your stuff to go out to halls, because you won't be able to get into the rooms, or to get in, the office won't be open to get anything. So yeah, I'll speak a bit more about the hub in a minute, but I hope that's kind of cleared up kind of the starting times and stuff like that. There'll be more regulations and stuff to come. And obviously any questions you have, you can pop them in the chat and we'll go through them at the end. So the regulations, we're currently meeting with all of the important people in Trinity, health and safety and people like that. So the regulations are being finalized, but they should be fairly good to go at this stage. But then they'll be emailed out to all of you to have a read of. And we'll also pop them on the CSC website when they are good to go. But the highlights really of the regulations that you really, really need to keep in mind, and that will help you as well, is that number one, it's only recognised clubs, societies, pubs and SU that are permitted to have stands during Freshers Week. So if anyone approaches you saying, "Oh, can we also have a stand?" or "We'd love to join your stand," or any of those things, just know that, it's really important that we keep this as a student event, and that it's focused on your clubs. So if you have any questions around, if anyone else approaches you, or if you see a group that's out there during the week even that you don't recognize, that you maybe just flag it with one of the CSC officers or exec, and we'll look into that for you. Um, Gazebos. So obviously the weather in Ireland, we never really know what's going to happen. But if you are planning on using one of a gazebo, your committee might have bought one already in the past, but if you're looking to buy a new one or anything like that, it shouldn't be any more than 4 foot, because the tables that you will be signing out are 4 foot by 2 foot, so 4 foot wide, 4 foot by two width length. So the gazebos shouldn't really be any more than that, and really no taller than 7 foot, because if it's anyway windy, they're going to blow over. Generally, it's a good idea if it's going to rain to have some shelter. However, if it's super windy, I know 2 years ago, the gazebos weren't permitted because they were a health and safety hazard. They were just blowing down on top of people. So we won't be able to make a decision on that. That's the college health and safety that will make a decision on that on the day. But again, if you are getting a gazebo, just make sure the one from last year that you have is not broken. And if you need to purchase a new one, that it's the right dimensions. If you find that you have one from previous years, I know some societies like sharing a gazebo. So if they're the really big ones, but if there's a society that you're kind of, have a good relationship or are in some way kind of almost linked to, then you can share a gazebo. So, but maybe just drop us an email and let us know if you want to do that, so that we can place you beside each other in the lineup then for the fair itself. So when you arrive on Tuesday morning, you'll be given one table, which again is 4 by 7 foot. So if you're buying any kind of materials or anything like that for your table, that's the dimensions that you'll be using. We have a limited number of chairs that are given to us by college. So unfortunately, it's only 2 chairs per group. So if you can try and just make sure that you only don't take more than 2 chairs, because it means probably another group is going without a chair. So, everybody has to just be sound and look after each other for the week. Because it's an open space with people walking through, students and staff and tourists, you can't have wires running at all because it's a trip hazard. So there'll be no power at your stand. If you're bringing your laptop, you're bringing any kind of portable devices or anything like that, make sure you've powered up. If you run out of power throughout the day, you can just come into house 6 to the CSC office, and you'll be able to just plug it in there, and you'll be good to go then in a while. But just make sure that you don't bring anything that's going to cause any kind of trip hazards or anything like that. You can't run cables through the front square. Same with amplification or loudspeakers. Unless permission is given in advance. I know there's some societies who are specifically music societies, so they might get special permission. But I suppose what you're trying to remember is that what's surrounding you is accommodation and administrative offices. So you really can't be running really loud music and stuff like that that's going to bother the staff or people trying to study. Because it is during term time as well. So you just have to make sure that you're not having too loud music at your stand. Then in terms of food, obviously you'll be all getting your little packs together to sign people up. So pre-packaged things are absolutely fine if you want to get there's always an overflow of Haribos and drinks and all of those things. Absolutely no problem if you want to have them at your stand. The only thing you cannot do is you cannot prepare food yourself to distribute to people because of obviously health and safety. There could be nuts, there could be allergies, there could be all of those things in there that you're going to take the risk then of somebody kind of picking up and eating. So everything needs to be pre-packaged with the clearly marked ingredients on them. And that also extends to no hot liquids. I think the pumps, I know the pumps are fine. So if you were getting a coffee company to To sponsor you, I think you can, but you can't have the students pump it themselves. So you have to kind of hand it over to them, hand it to them. But best to kind of avoid anything that could burn or hurt a student, basically. So you're better trying to avoid them. That includes kind of popcorn makers, Burkos, kettles, anything that's going to possibly cause any kind of damage. Throughout the week, there are people going around from college, kind of just monitoring the stands and making sure that all of these health and safety regulations are being followed. So yeah, just best to avoid having somebody have to stop you from doing what you're doing. We always ask, you know, in Trinity that you be sustainable in what you're giving out. So try to avoid too much of, you know, plastic stuff that's just going to go in the dump basically afterwards, and clean up after yourself and make sure that you use all the recycle bins that are being provided by college. We'll make sure that they're all around Front Square, so that at the end of the day you can make sure that everything you brought with you has been taken away or disposed of accordingly. Um, I'd also advise, it's not on the regulations, but it's something I've seen happen every single year over the last years. Just watch your belongings at your stand. I think some people might know that this fair is on at a certain time of year, and bags, laptops, phones have gone missing from stands throughout the year. So just be careful, and when you're at the stand, just watch out for each other's stuff, and make sure that nothing kind of goes missing throughout the week then as well. So as I said, we'll send out the approved regulations well ahead of time so you can make yourself completely clear of them. But they're kind of the main ones that tend to come up every year. And again, if there's any questions on them, we're happy to answer now or closer to the time. Okay, so the Societies Hub. We sent out an email last week asking you to just check the profile that we currently have on the Societies Hub. Obviously, you can't see on the website at the moment because it hasn't been activated yet, but we've sent you out two documents. One is an Excel document, which you'll be able to view what's already on your society profile for the Shopify system, which is the back end of our Societies Hub. I'd really advise everybody to make sure that you're happy with that, because some of them we know haven't been updated since COVID. So if there's a mention of COVID in your, then shame on you if it's still in there. You need to do that. You can only update your form using your society account. It's just because we want to know that, you know, if the secretary updates it, then the PRO updates it and stuff like that, that there's one person being responsible for this. So check the profile on the Excel document, and then there's a form, a Google form. Go in, put in whatever it is you want for your profile for this year. Include any new social media links that you have. If you have a new logo, if you have any kind of new stuff that you want us to put onto your Shopify to advertise you to potential members, send that in. Do it today if you can, while it's fresh in your head, but certainly by close of business tomorrow, because we need then a few days to kind of get everything up onto the system in time for the postgrads that launch to be next week. So yeah, all new students will join via that Societies Hub, and this automatically then generates an Excel document in your society email address, so you'll be able to see your members. So one kind of triggers the other. The Societies Hub, somebody will sign up to your society. You, in your society email account in your Drive, will see an Excel document, and it will automatically be feeding the email addresses into that list, so you'll be able to see who has joined your society over the next couple of weeks. It's your responsibility then to make sure that all of your members that have signed up have been uploaded to the mail management system. They don't automatically speak to one another, so you need to do that. I will go through this in more detail, I think, at another point for anyone who, you know, if people feel like they need to do it, but it's a really simple system. There's loads of videos on my Emma on how to do this. You're basically just downloading a CSV, is that what it called, file, and then uploading it to the My Emma system. And then you can send your newsletters, welcome emails to all your new members as soon as you're kind of ready to do so. And if you can't get into the My Emma system, we don't hold that password, you reset that yourself. So I assume most of you have access to your society at csc.tcd email address at this stage, because you got this email and stuff. But if you haven't managed to get into it yet, because you don't know the password, or it's still set up on secretary from last year's device or anything like that, I can help you with that. So email me, emma@csc.tcd.ie, and I will remove any devices from previous years. I'll reset the password, and you'll be able to get onto your society email address. Then you'll be able to, set up your My Emma system so that you're ready to go. And really, then it would be up to you on the committee to decide who sends out those emails to your members. Whether it's the secretary or PRO, you have somebody specific in mind to do it. The only thing I was going to say on that, we did send out an email, and very few people have gotten back to me so far, but there still is time. So your members are only members for 1 year. And for GDPR purposes, we cannot hold members' information for more than the period of membership, which is generally a year. I know one or two of you might have more than a year. So you need to remove the members from last year and let me know so I can delete them from the system for GDPR purposes. Any problems doing that, drop me an email, but all of the information is in an email that was sent out to your society email addresses probably about 2 weeks ago. So just go back and have a look at that email, and it gives you information on how to do that. Okay. So make sure you do that like this week or next week at the very, very latest. So that's just a tip on, make sure everything is charged up for the time that you're out at the fair, because there'll be no power cables out there. And then I suppose in terms of the membership money, where that goes when people sign up on the hub, that comes centrally to us, and at some point over the next couple of weeks, Noelle, who's our accounts administrator, will be transferring your membership money into your individual accounts. So if there's any questions on that, I think Henry might be able to answer that in a little while. But just around cash, I'm going to hand it over to him. Henry, if you want to do my slides, that's fine. Otherwise.
Yeah, I'm happy to take over.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Henry. I'm the CSC treasurer for the year. You may recognize me from last year, where I was also the CSC treasurer, but I'm happy to be back for another year. So just some things on notes on cash and signing up for Freshers Fair. Emma was talking about the signups that will all be done through the Society's hub, and that payments will be processed afterwards. So please don't use any cash at the when you're signing people up. If they're like, oh, can I just pay you that €3 now? Have them use the link and sign up through there, so there's no cash being handled on the day, because that can get lost and then it has to be updated. It's a messy system. So just please keep it within the Society hub. There's also no grant for Freshers Week. There will be treasurer training later in the year, which will go over the grants in depth. But for any Freshers Fair or any materials or supplies that you need, those will not be covered by a grant later in the year. So don't buy anything now assuming that you will get it covered by a grant, because like t-shirts, like committee hoodies, gazebos, stickers, like things like that are generally not covered by any grant. So just keep that in mind, that you will need to supply those things with the money that is already in your account, while not depleting your society reserves for the rest of the year. If you need to check your society bank balance, you can log in. Your treasurer or your chair should have access to the bank account. And if you do not have access to the bank account yet, please email myself or Noelle, and Noelle can get you set up, and I can also help you check that balance if you don't know that at the moment. If you do end up using your own money, if you go out to the shop or buy something online, just make sure you hold on to the receipts so that you can get reimbursed from your society treasurer. And then I think Emma touched on it a little bit before, but sponsorship for Freshers Fair is all up to you. There are lots of shops that will sponsor your members for deals, or they'll give you things to give out. That's all up to you. Just think about what your membership will find useful so that you're not sponsoring a company just, with something that is completely unrelated. Make sure it's actually beneficial to those potential members and your current members from previous, that'll be signing up again from previous years. And also make sure that you're not giving access to a company to campus that really shouldn't have an access. Like Emma was saying, don't let them come set up next to you. You can give out their water bottles or their stickers or whatever, but just keep that in mind. And I just want to add one more thing. Emma, you were talking about the sign up system online. Even if like people sign up online and that money will come in and that will go straight to your spreadsheet, that spreadsheet takes a little bit of time to propagate each day. So if somebody signs up right there, it might not show up on your spreadsheet immediately. That doesn't mean that they're not a member yet. It just takes a little bit of time because everybody's signing up and that system is a little slow, but it will usually propagate by the end of each day. Is there anything else you want me to mention?
No, we did put together the fundraising guidelines last year, so that was
Oh, yeah.
emailed out. So if people, want to really, take a deep dive into what kind of fundraising opportunities there are out there, have a look at that email that was sent out, or I think it's on the CSC website as
Yeah,
well. Yeah.
there's kind of a document on the website, and it was in the emails as well, that just kind of gives you a thought process for how to think about the fundraising. For general, like small kind of sponsorships where like a company or a business is just going to give you things to give out and there's no real transaction, that's absolutely fine. You guys can make those decisions and make those agreements. But if there's something more contractual where there is a document signed, or there's a partnership where like they give you something and you're giving them something in return, you need to bring that to, just flag that with me, email me that any kind of agreement that you're signing, because there are some things sometimes companies try to get sneaky and try to get you to sign over things that you as societies don't have the ability to sign over, like access to campus or continued partnership, for, past a year, stuff like that. So just if you flag that with me, I'll just double check to make sure that everything is okay. But generally that's usually fine.
Yeah, yeah. And the other, I suppose, one that they might try and sneak through is access to your mailing lists and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Obviously, your mailing list is absolutely precious to you. You are the only people who can access and use those mailing lists. You cannot give it to a third party, even somebody within college. So really be careful on that. But yeah, again, we'll go through all of this stuff again in a lot more detail at the main training as well. So I don't want to bombard you with too
Yeah,
much.
there will be a lot
Can't
more
do
stuff
this,
on.
can't do that kind of
Yeah.
stuff yet. Yeah.
All
Okay, I
right.
think that's everything. Thanks, Henry.
Yep. Thanks, Emma.
Thank you. Ooh, okay, nearly there. So just a few things, I suppose, that are not related but kind of related. Society's rooms will be accessible in the next while. So if you're lucky enough to have a society room, House 6 is open because we're back in the office now. So if you want to come in and have a look in the room, clean out everything. We did a little walk through the other day and we did notice people had left open packets of biscuits and stuff like that throughout the summer. So you might want to do a tidy up, make sure there's no mice in there. We'll be able to give you the keys for the rooms. Atrium and Goldsmith open a little bit later. They tend to open during term time. But if you want special permission to get in, just drop me an email and you can come in and we can give you the key to check out your room. Start maybe talking to the other people that you share a room with. Fwylon, who's the amenities officer, can let you know who that is if you don't already know, or if you need any stuff for the rooms. I believe he's been in touch with everybody anyway, and I know a lot of you have little orders for kettles and couches and all that kind of stuff in already, but yeah, he will be able to help you with that. And remember, if you're going to halls, to make sure that you have your stuff out of your rooms before that weekend, because the rooms will not be open over the weekend. So if you're running an event, like this is something that's totally up to you. If you find that you're a society that has a large amount of postgrads, it's totally up to you if you want to run an event during the orientation, which is next week. That we have opened the booking system on the CSC website for you to be able to book a space on campus if you were to decide that you wanted to run a postgrad event. But I understand most of you haven't come to Dublin yet, or you're still maybe working over the summer and stuff like that. So again, it's something for you and your committee to kind of to look at, but the opportunity is there if you wanted to run something next week for postgrads. So the booking spaces, as I said, is open now. So if you want to start speaking with your committee and booking the 3 meeting rooms or the Liz room in House 6, you can start doing that now. Or this Zoom account is also open for people to book for committee meetings or anything like that. The inquiries officer also receiving your requests for the larger booking spaces, which would be the lecture halls, the Rose Garden, or any of those, the other bookings, the other spaces that you're allowed to book your events in throughout the year. They are really bombarded with stuff at the moment because they also book in the times for the lectures and tutorials and stuff like that. So they really, really ask that you like take note of the 7 days notice that is needed for requests. Otherwise, they might not be able to get you a space. So have a meeting maybe with your rest of your committee this week and really get that over to the inquiries office if you're hoping to book a space on campus and get permission from the junior dean for that during Freshers Week or even the week after Freshers Week. You really need to start doing that now. For meetings and anything like that, especially in the atrium or the Liz room, or a general meeting in any of the lecture halls, all you need to do is book a room. Anything with alcohol, anything with a reception, food, things like that, are out of the ordinary for your societies. That you need to have permission from the junior dean. Again, 10 days notice is needed for that. So make sure you're just, I suppose, planning in advance. And also, while it's in my head, actually, you can't take sponsorship from any alcohol companies or gambling. So just maybe keep that in mind. Just to go back to what Henry was speaking about there for a minute ago. I am doing a session on room bookings because I know it's a complicated system that there's 3 different booking places to go for bookings. So make sure that that you're attending the trainings throughout the week and that if it's something you're going to be doing for your committee, that you attend that training session on booking and holding events and permissions throughout the year. Grant. So this is my last slide. Make sure that you're aware of all the other training sessions that we've set up for this year. Really, every year we look at what has come up the previous year and we make a bespoke training schedule for committees for next year. So this isn't just something we think you should do. This is something that we have really, really seen your committees last year maybe struggle with a little bit. So we've developed all of the training that are for next year based on that. So we'd really advise you, as many of people on your committee, to attend all of those sessions that we have planned for over the next 2 weeks. Then the main CSC training will happen on the 27th. Probably in the business school. Again, we'll send all this information well beforehand. But that training, it's mandatory for the main officers, at least the chair, treasurer, secretary, to attend, because then the grants open the following Monday, which I think is the 29th. So for you to be able to apply for a grant, you need to have attended the training on the 27th. Okay. But the next one, I've already said, read the emails that we've already sent out and please archive your mailing lists from 24-25. Update your profile if it needs to be updated by close of business tomorrow at the latest. Don't delay booking spaces or activities and getting permission from the junior dean. If you want to do anything during from Fresh Week on, and if you have deliveries, so if you're ordering stuff for the societies, to have them ready to go and you're wondering where you can get them delivered to, the CSC office is now open. So you can send any deliveries to the CSC office in House 6. The address is on the website. But please, please, please put your society name on them because we're getting loads of deliveries with no names on them and we have no way of contacting whoever ordered them. So there could be deliveries there for people and they have no idea. So please do that. And you're welcome to use the space or pop in 9 or 10 to 5. Crohor's there. I'm there. We're kind of there over the next week or 2 before Freshes starts. And that's me done. Okay. Right. I'll stop talking now so you can ask questions, etc. Corho, are you there?
Yeah, so that's perfect. Thank you, Emma. I hope that was useful to everyone. We did get one question in the chat from Linguistics just asking if you don't have access to your membership list in your Google Drive, should you expect to access it soon?
Yeah, so I sent an email to the person who develops this yesterday with making sure with the list of the 3 new societies that were recognized last year, and that he knows that needs to be done ASAP. So we'll have that done.
Great. Does anyone else have any other questions? I mean, if you don't feel comfortable typing saying it out loud, you can also just put it in the chat, but also free to put on your mic or whatever. As well, there's a few people from the executive as well. So the CSC also has a committee as well. So there's the 4 society officers. You met Henry already. Obviously, I'm the chairperson, and there's also the immediate officer Phelan and the secretary Bernice. But we also have 8 other sort of ordinary members. So if anyone in sort of the exec would just want to stick up their hand and say hello, or even Bernice and Phelan specifically, if you're on.
Hi, everybody. I am the secretary for this year. So if you have any questions about your constitutions or if you want to change anything, please email me about that. And also, if you're thinking of starting a new society, also please come to me. I'll be here on and off for the next 2 weeks and onwards. So pop by the office and be sure to ask because I might be around.
Okay, great. So it doesn't look like we're getting any other